There's $27 million in that building that I put over there. Alone, just the studio.
From 50 Cent's multi-million-dollar private creative hub to Dr. Dre's hidden bunker studio beneath his Brentwood estate, all the way to Jay-Z's elite recording space where global anthems are born, this is a look inside the most expensive rooms in music. And it begins beneath Dr. Dre's Brentwood mansion. What does it take to craft records like Still Dre or The Next Episode without ever walking out your front door? For Dre, it required carving out a 10,000 square foot production compound under his $40 million French Chateau-style home. A fully engineered professional environment buried beneath luxury. This is no amateur bedroom rig with consumer gear. It's a full-scale sonic command center where the West Coast architect shaped projects for Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and himself, free from the clock and cost of commercial rooms. The main residence, purchased in 2014 for $40 million, was only the start. Dre reportedly invested an additional $5 to $10 million tunneling into the ground to establish this subterranean creative fortress. The complex stretches across multiple production areas, anchored by a flagship control room, dedicated vocal booths, and a lounge designed for all-night creative runs. Every wall is layered with precision acoustic treatment, bass traps, isolation materials, and floating floors that wipe out external noise and produce the perfectly controlled environment required for Dre's signature low-end and ultra-clean highs. The equipment inventory borders on legendary. Dre maintains 4 to 5 Akai MPC 3000 units for sculpting those unmistakable West Coast rhythms, keeps several EMU SP1200 machines for their gritty vintage crunch, and relies heavily on a $10,000 Sony C800G Tube MIC for capturing pristine rap vocals. But the crown piece was his SSL 4000G Plus console, a 48-channel analog titan that hit auction in 2025 for a staggering $165,000, setting a new record for hip-hop studio gear. Dre has long explained in interviews that his craft is rooted in hands-on precision and resourceful engineering.
Because back in the day, I had, let's say, 1 or 2 keyboards to make an entire album. So I had to figure out ways to make the sounds different. So I would go in pawn shops and find guitar pedals and what have you to make the sounds in this one particular keyboard sound different, so I can make an entire album using one keyboard.
The mixing environment is centered around an SSL 4000G fitted with E-Series modules, feeding directly into Pro Tools and a Dolby Atmos array engineered for immersive television scoring. After extensive reconstruction, G-Unit Studios officially opened its doors in August 2024, forming the backbone of 50's 3-tier community development plan, which includes housing initiatives and talent pipelines, turning the facility into far more than a simple creative hub. And while 50's rooms rely on $10,000 Sony Tube mics and Neve preamps, the next artist's workspace went even further, stacking multiple SSL desks and filling the building with custom Augsburger monitoring. Jay-Z's Bassline Studios. Some of the most iconic works in hip-hop were born in rooms that weren't polished but purposeful. Bassline, tucked inside Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood, served as a strategic command center where Rockefeller Records orchestrated their rise, a stripped-down creative bunker built on independence and raw innovation. Launched in the early 2000s at 127 West 26th Street, this multi-room facility became the birthplace of staples like the Blueprint and the Black Album, tracked in an unapologetically functional space that valued workflow over luxury. Instead of modern flash, Bassline's prestige came from its mission: unrestricted creative autonomy. The floor plan consisted of 3 interconnected production zones, allowing artists and engineers to move effortlessly between recording, mixing, and conceptual work. Its main control room housed the flagship console, bordered by towers of analog processors, with a sound-isolated booth for vocals and a lounge where late-night freestyle sessions unfolded in hazy, cigar-filled air. Acoustic treatment included custom Jockey 2 FX diffusers finished in Nardo Grey to match the studio aesthetic, along with bass traps and floating floors to guarantee precision. The equipment roster leaned heavily into classic analog. The heart of the room was an SSL 464G plus 64-channel desk, recently restored for a 2023 exhibit at the Brooklyn Public Library. The board J used to spread stems and perform hands-on mixes for Kanye-produced tracks. Additional rooms featured SSL 9000J and 4000G Plus consoles for advanced beat layering. For vocal work, J favored a Newman U87 paired with an Avalon 737 on songs like 99 Problems, supported by a Newman U67 for detail and, at times, a Sony C800G for polished hooks. Over the years, J has spoken about shifting his creative approach toward crafting music with intention rather than sheer volume.
$27 million in that building that I put over there. Alone, just the studio. Everything that I bought away from that is shit that I bought just because I need them to feel what you feel right now.
Yeah.
Here. So it's not a bad place to go. In the process, it makes the place cool.
Because we can't use the word retirement for you.
Yeah. No, I already did that. I can't do that ever again. I would say I want to make music, but it has to be something important. I don't want to just make a bunch of tunes.
Monitoring came courtesy of custom Augsburger Classic 215 mains with refurbished dual 15-inch woofers, showcased during the exhibit, alongside Yamaha NS10MS for critical reference. The outboard arsenal included Empirical Labs distressors matched with API 550 EQs for dynamic drum shaping, TubeTech CL1B compressors for smooth, controlled vocals, and a Lexicon 480L for expansive ambience. Engineer Young Guru routed all sessions through Avid Pro Tools HDX for digital precision. Though Bassline officially shut its doors in 2010, the 2023 full-scale Recreation, financed by Rock Nation, preserved every surface and piece of gear as a cultural artifact. And while Jay's headquarters operated with 64-channel SSL boards and vintage Newman tubes, the next creative space is fueled by portable samplers and battery-powered MPCs. Kanye West Yeezy Campus Studio. In the wide open spaces of Cody, Wyoming, Kanye built a creative ecosystem unlike traditional recording environments. Spread across more than 10,000 acres of ranchland, the Yeezy Campus transforms a simple dining cabin into a multidisciplinary sanctuary merging music, design, and solitude. Acquired in 2019 for $14 million as part of Westlake Ranch, the compound developed from a remote Yeera workspace into a full creative enclave where gospel rap experiments and Yeezy prototypes take form against wildlife and mountain skylines. The studio began inside a humble timber cabin overlooking rolling terrain, later expanding by 2020 into a brutalist concrete structure inspired by his Calabasas headquarters. The configuration includes link zones, a central 1,000 to 2,000 square foot recording space built around mobile production rigs, adjacent design labs for Yeezy prototypes, and gathering areas for Sunday service rehearsals. Acoustic treatment is simple but functional, using foam, rugs, and exposed wood, supported by solar-powered systems connected to ranch-wide sustainability efforts such as sheep farming for Yeezy wool. The equipment philosophy focuses on mobility and hybrid creativity. Kanye keeps an Ensoniq ASR-10, a core sampler used throughout his Wyoming Yee sessions and visible during work with T.I. on Yee Versus. The People. Alongside it sits an Akai MPC 2000 XL for rhythm work and an Akai MPC Live running on battery power, a go-to unit for off-grid production sessions with a MacBook for DAW work. A Roland TR-808 played a central role in shaping the sparse Yeera beats formed in Wyoming's isolation. For vocals, Kanye relied on a vintage Newman U87 with a windscreen scene in live streams, a Sony C800G for clean melodic takes, and a Telefunken Elam 251 tube MIC for the gospel textures heard on Donda. The Chaotica eyeball isolation shell became a critical tool inside improvised recording corners, and he even captured roughly 20 to 30% of Jesus is King and Donda vocals straight into iPhone X voice memos. His interface of choice during those stripped-down Wyoming takes was a Universal Audio Apollo Twin MKI, serving as the core tracking unit. Monitoring relied on KRK Rokit 8G3 powered speakers on the cabin desk, paired with Yamaha NS10MS for accuracy checks. His synth arsenal included an Oberheim OB8A for airy textures, a Minimoog Voyager for thick low end, and a Dave Smith Tempest for experimental percussion work. A TubeTech CL1B compressor handled vocal dynamics throughout the Donda period. All production ran through Avid Pro Tools or FL Studio, with modern sound design plugins like a pirated Xfer Serum identified in various session clips. Here, luxury wasn't glossy decor, it was uninterrupted solitude on a ranch purchase for $14 million, then expanded with another $36 million in domes, labs, and a proposed 100,000-seat amphitheater. Solar infrastructure and sustainable farming powered continuous creativity in nature's silence, reinforcing Donda's communal gospel aesthetic far from city pressure. Yee's Wyoming cabin leaned on classic Roland 808 textures for sampling, but the next artist workspace runs $15,000 Telefunken mics backed by custom Augsburgers. Rick Ross Promised Land Mansion Studio. When Rick Ross speaks on boss status, it isn't exaggeration. His Promised Land Mansion in Fayetteville, Georgia stands as a symbol of southern rap grandeur, complete with a full professional studio embedded in the lower level of one of the country's largest private residences. Bought in 2014 for $5.9 million following a foreclosure from Evander Holyfield, the 45,000 to 54,000 square foot estate on 322 acres became Ross's headquarters, where heavyweight trap records are crafted in a setting defined by luxury. The massive residence contains 109 rooms, 12 bedrooms and 21 bathrooms, draped in white stone, marble flooring, and dual sweeping staircases. Ross named it Promised Land to honor his journey from struggle to success. The studio sits downstairs as a 1,000 to 2,000 square foot production suite engineered for isolation and workflow. The configuration includes a primary control room, a dedicated vocal booth with full visual communication, and targeted acoustic treatment like foam and bass traps to tame the mansion's seismic 808s. The basement flows directly into other amenities, a custom gym for post-session routines, a 135-seat cinema for playback tests, a 2-lane bowling alley for downtime, and an indoor lap pool for unwinding. Outside, the estate features a private roadway, scenic lakes, and maintained landscapes that Ross personally trims using an air-conditioned tractor equipped with a radio. Security is tight, with gated entrances and constant surveillance. On the technical side, Ross invests in premium vocal rigs. A Neumann U87 can be seen in his booth footage during sessions at 113, used to capture crisp, articulate vocals, paired with preamps that add his signature low-end dominance on tracks like Blow. He also owns a Telefunken Elam 251 tube microphone valued at around $15,000, ideal for warm, vintage-rich recordings fit for his deep MMG cadences. Shure SM58 units and Shure U2 wireless models handle spontaneous demos or mobile takes within the enormous property. His monitoring setup includes Yamaha NS10MS for balanced mix decisions and custom Augsburger Duo 8 Minimains priced at $10,000 to $15,000 per pair for powerful, low-end focus trap playback. KRK Rokit 5G3 speakers, visible at 108 in older clips, handle reference mixes. His vocal chain likely incorporates an Avalon preamp, long rumored in forums as part of his Port of Miami-era workflow. Between renovations and upgrades, including the studio, the property gained an estimated $5 to $10 million in value, now ranging from $30 million to $75 million. Ross expanded further in 2019 by acquiring an additional 87 acres for $1 million, raising the total footprint to 322 acres. The mansion regularly serves as a production backdrop, hosting shoots ranging from coming to America interior scenes to big-budget music videos, blending creativity with resort-style luxury. And while Ross Basement leans on rare Telefunken tube microphones and bespoke monitoring arrays, the next artist studio opts for Sennheiser wireless technology paired with an 80-channel SSL automation system. Eminem's Rochester Hills Mansion Studio. Eminem's evolution from 8-mile trailer parks to secluded estate life is legendary, and his Rochester Hills workspace captures that journey with precision. Purchased in 2003 for $4.8 million, the 17,000-square-foot home tucked inside a gated Oakland County community became Marshall Mathers' private creative bunker, allowing him to craft introspective records undisturbed while hosting sessions with Dr. Dre and balancing life with his daughter Haley. Sitting on nearly 6 acres beside Stony Creek Metro Park, the property offers quiet inspiration. Built in 1996 with imported materials and detailed wood craftsmanship, it houses 6 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms, with a basement studio occupying roughly 1,000 to 2,000 square feet. The studio layout features a soundproof live room, a primary control space with views into adjoining isolation booths, and nearby storage areas for instruments and recording gear. Acoustic treatment across the space, fabric-wrapped walls, deep bass traps, and a fully floated floor turns the room into a purpose-built dead zone, adjustable for razor-sharp highs, heavy low-end, and dialed-in rap mixes. The studio links seamlessly into the main property, letting sessions shift straight into the home gym lined with mirrors, a private 135-seat theater used for playback assessments, or the outdoor pool and hot tub for late-night reset breaks. A precision HVAC system stabilizes conditions for sensitive equipment, while integrated smart tech allows everything to be controlled remotely. Security is layered with biometric entry, full coverage surveillance, and a 3-car garage meant for low-key arrivals. 4 tracking vocals. M relies on a Sennheiser SKM 5200 wireless handheld paired with an ME5000-5 capsule, his go-to for forceful deliveries during recovery-era sessions. A Neumann U87 handles clean, neutral takes for hooks, while a Sony C800G, the same tube MIC used across the Marshall Mathers LP, adds signature gloss. His vocal chain routes through an Avalon VT737 SP for warmth, a Neve 1073 to add its trademark color, and a Manley Voxbox for shaping fast, dense flows. Mixing is carried out on an SSL 4000G series console with 80 channels for wide track layout, locked in with Avid Pro Tools HD for editing. Monitoring is anchored by Focal Trio 6B speakers for precision playback. Additional tools in his rotation include a Korg Triton 61-key workstation for composition, a TC Electronic 2290 for rhythmic delay textures, and Antares Auto-Tune applied subtly for modern vocal polish. Renovating the studio wing pushed its overall value beyond $10 million, though M ultimately sold the property in 2017 for $1.9 million, with another listing appearing in 2021 at $3.23 million. Today, he works out of Detroit-based environments such as Effigy Studios. And if MS setup leans on Avalon channel strips and Manley processing, the next artist operates from a facility built around a massive 64-channel Neve desk and 10,000-watt custom monitoring. This brings us to Snoop Dogg's Beach City Music Complex. When Snoop launched Beach City in Englewood in 2016, he wasn't simply opening a studio, he was establishing a 20,000-square-foot creative hub affectionately known as the Mothership, a place where West Coast rap, film production, and full-scale creativity converge. Commissioned by longtime collaborator DJ Pooh and engineered by Westlake Pro with professional acoustic design, this site near Lax has become Snoop's operational base, where he records, broadcasts, and manages projects including Death Row Records. The facility houses 3 interconnected, spaceship-inspired rooms: Mothership Studio A, Battleship Studio B, and Starship Studio C, each calibrated for consistent tonal response. Studio A functions as the primary command center, built as a large-format production and mixing room anchored by the main console bay. Studio B emphasizes 5.1 surround workflows with lounge seating for collaborative sessions and integrated video editing setups for broadcast preparation. Studio C was crafted as a writing and tracking environment for Snoop's son, Cordell Broadus, outfitted with movable furniture to accommodate developing artists. Acoustic design is fully professional, using custom Jackavi panels, bass trapping, and diffusion to maintain a flat, controlled response. Beyond the studios, the complex includes a regulation-sized basketball court for downtime during Dr. Dre sessions, a showroom highlighting Snoop's classic cars, and a dedicated radio suite for live SiriusXM broadcasts. The equipment roster is elite. At the center sits an AMS Neve Genesis Black 64-channel console, valued at more than $100,000, with a Neve 1073 preamp on every strip and full DIGI-CO integration. Monitoring is driven by towering custom Augsburger Quattro 410-inch systems, quad 15-inch woofers, dual 18-inch sub-cabinets, and 10,000 watts in total, priced upward of $30,000. Studio B supplements with Focal SM9 monitors for surgical vocal reference. For vocals, Snoop favors a Telefunken ELAM 251 tube microphone priced around $15,000 for smooth delivery, while Studio C uses a Neumann U87 for visiting artists. Outboard choices include vintage Pultec EQP1A equalizers for tonal sculpting, Teletronics LA2A and UREI 1176LN units for dynamic control, and a TubeTech CL1B for bus compression. All rooms operate on Avid Pro Tools HDX systems, paired with Slate Digital Raven touch surfaces for hands-on visual mixing. Production tools include an Akai MPC 3000 for drum sequencing and a Roland TR-808 for classic West Coast low-end. Custom Zor furniture gives session musicians ergonomic access during live tracking. While the exact construction budget has never been made public, estimates place the investment between $5 and $10 million based on Westlake and pad-level design and equipment. The complex has since produced modern West Coast standouts and new-era Death Row tributes, cementing it as a true mothership for regional unity near LAX. And where Snoop's operation pairs $15,000 Telefunken microphones with vintage Pultec outboard gear, the next studio blends classic tape machine stutter with new generation SSL consoles. Enter Outcast Stankonia Studios, proof that ownership can redefine artistry. When Andre 3000 and Big Boy purchased the facility in 1998, they were making a statement about autonomy and creative direction. Situated in northwest Atlanta, the multi-room studio had already welcomed icons such as Elton John and Tony Braxton during its era as Soundscape Studios, before transforming into Bobby Brown's Bossdown Recording Studios from 1990 to 1997. Outkast acquired it, renamed it after their groundbreaking fourth album, and reshaped it into a vibrant, experimental creative compound where boundaries were encouraged to dissolve. Bobby Brown, who owned the studio before Outkast, once remarked in an interview why the duo saw the value in taking it over.
A music studio in Atlanta?
Yes.
Andre 3000 and Big Boy, they recorded a song.
Yeah, they bought the studio from me. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What made you decide to own a studio?
Not wanting to spend my budget on other people.
The facility stretches across roughly 5,000 to 10,000 square feet, divided into multiple purpose-built rooms for adaptable use. Its primary A room acts as the command center, a tall ceiling control environment fully overhauled during their takeover with upgraded wiring, routing paths, and equalization systems. A smaller Pro Tools exclusive mix room sits nearby, along with a 15 by 15 foot isolation booth and an enormous live room resembling a warehouse, a space expansive enough to store Outkast's touring equipment. That massive chamber doubles as a recording hall for strings, acoustic piano, drum kits, percussion sections, and live ensembles of 30 players or more. In 2024, the studio swapped its longtime SSL 4000G Plus console, originally restored by engineer John Fry in 1998 with refreshed busing paths, EQ modules, oversized VCA faders, and new caps, for a brand new SSL Duality Fuse 48 fader desk valued between $100,000 and $150,000. The earlier board operated for 36 years, serving as the primary MIC pre-routing point into Pro Tools. The Duality Fuse brings pristine analog preamps, a built-in Fusion mix bus unit for saturation and cohesion, and a center section bus compressor that supplies that signature final mix glue. Monitoring relies on custom George Augsburger main speakers powered by TAD drivers and Bristol amps, mounted for high-level playback and recalibrated every 6 months. Because of the extreme volume they handle, woofers and diaphragms require yearly replacements. These monitors aren't designed for ultra-audiophile shine, they're engineered for endurance during demanding sessions, with custom builds priced between $20,000 and $30,000. For vocal work, engineers lean on a Neumann M149 tube microphone feeding into an Avalon VT737SP channel strip, enhanced with Avalon AD2055 EQs and AD2044 compression units to maintain clean, faithful tone shaping. Additional Neve 1073 preamps handle duties for drums, brass, and vocal layers. Beat Production still incorporates an EMU SP1200 sampler and an Akai MPC 3000 for groove sequencing. The studio also retains Studer A827 24-track tape machines and a Studer A820 for analog warmth, though by 2003 most tracking had shifted to a Pro Tools dominant workflow. Effects processors include a Yamaha SPX 1000 and a suite of software synthesizers such as Reason, FM7, Absynth, and Spectrasonics tools to merge digital textures with live instrumentation. Endre officially sold his portion to Big Boy in 2015, but the site continues as Big Boy's creative headquarters within a commercial complex frequently booked by artists like Goody Mob, T.I., and Summer Walker. Recent standout sessions include work on Killer Mike's Grammy-winning Michael album. Outcast Homebase features a 48-fader SSL console and custom Augsburgers tuned twice each year, but the next artist's workspace enters on rare prototype boards paired with vintage tube microphones. Pharrell Williams Home Studio. Pharrell Williams doesn't merely produce records, he crafts complete atmospheres. His Los Angeles home studio serves as the nucleus of the creative universe where his Neptunes-era breakthroughs with Chad Hugo reshaped hip-hop, pop, and R&B through experimental sound design and futuristic sonic palettes. As the architect behind tracks like Happy, Get Lucky with Daft Punk, and NERD's In Search Of, he transformed this environment into a hybrid of Music Lab and Billionaire Boys Club design house, merging sound and style in one fluid workspace. Part of a real estate collection exceeding $200 million, the studio resides inside his glass-heavy Hollywood Hills mansion built around natural light and open architecture. The setup spans several rooms labeled Studios A, B, and C, totaling roughly 2,000 to 3,000 square feet within the residence. Studio A is the primary command center, marked by bold color schemes, bright teals, radiant yellows, and walls framed with art shelves meant to spark visual and sonic creativity. Studios B and C function as smaller, reconfigurable spaces for writing and tracking, all linked through Pro Tools for instant session handoffs. The equipment list blends old-school rarities with cutting-edge tech. At the core sits a rare ARMEC G2520 prototype console, one of only 7 made, valued north of $50,000. Secondary rooms feature a DigiDesign Pro control surface for DAW operation. Pharrell's microphone arsenal spans a vintage Neumann U67 tube MIC for lush vocal textures, a Telefunken ELA-M251 valued around $15,000 for detailed recording, an AKG C12 VR for neutral precision, and Neumann TLM-170 and TLM-103 condensers for broader applications. His vocal chain commonly begins with an Avalon VT737SP for analog saturation, followed by a TubeTech CL1B optical compressor for smooth dynamic control. Additional outboard pieces include Teletronics LA2A units for gentle leveling, DBX 160 modules for punchy rhythm tracks, and Neve 9098 equalizers for detailed tone sculpting. Monitoring duties are handled by Genelec 1037A 3-way active speakers, Yamaha NS10MS for everyday translation, custom Augsburgers for high-volume playback, plus Mackie, Pro AC, and IK Multimedia iLoud micro monitors for alternate listening perspectives. Beat Creation leans heavily on an Ensoniq ASR10 sampler for chopping loops in the style of Get Lucky, alongside multiple Roland JV series sound modules, the JV580, JV1080, and JV2080. A Korg microKORG for chord work including Drop It Like It Hot, Korg 01W and Triton Extreme workstations, an Access Virus TI Polar for synth textures, a Yamaha Motif rack, and the classic Roland TR-808 for signature drums. All production flows through Avid Pro Tools or Apple Logic Pro, using plugins like Spectrasonics Omnisphere, Waves Renaissance compressor on numerous channels, Metric Halo channel strip, Sony Aux for dynamics, Waves Duressa units, and UAD or Waves SSL channel emulations. Conversion is handled by Apogee Rosetta units. Control surfaces include M-Audio Axiom 61, Oxygen 49, and Aelsys V49 keyboards, supported by Apple MacBook Pros for system power. A full-size grand piano is also placed throughout the home for spontaneous melodic ideas within the vibrant creative setting. And while Pharrell's rooms combine Ensoniq samplers with Access Virus synths, the next producer's studio moves in a completely different direction, centering on gold-plated Neumann microphones and SSL consoles built into a rolling command center. Timbaland's Mobile Recording Studio. Most creators need to be inside a studio to shape hits. Timbaland designed one capable of traveling with him. His mobile recording environment represents the pinnacle of portable production, refitting a high-end tour bus into a full-scale music laboratory that powered songs for Justin Timberlake, Missy Elliott, and One Republic while cruising from city to city. Debuting around 2010 inside a custom post coach, dubbed the Oracle or MMG tour bus, and valued between $1.3 million and $2 million, the setup enabled him to craft projects like Future Sex or Love Sounds without stepping off the highway. The vehicle incorporated a floating room-within-a-room structure built on isolators to neutralize engine hum and road shock. This insulated core space, roughly 100 to 200 square feet, housed a compact control desk for mixing, a vocal booth with direct visibility, and modular racks positioned for fast adjustments during travel. Acoustic treatments use dense foam, bass traps, and multi-layer wall systems with neoprene decoupling to create a neutral response, essential for Tim's low-end driven productions, while reducing outside interference. The bus also blended living amenities into the workflow. A passenger seat MIC rig for on-the-road demos, a lounge with leather seating for creative meetings, a kitchen for breaks, and sleeping quarters for overnight work sessions. Luxury details included marble flooring, app-controlled LED lighting, and climate-stabilized FAC to protect tube equipment. Power was supplied by onboard generators with optional solar backup to enable off-grid operation. Built by Pro Audio Nerds Incorporated, the overall cost reached between $1.30 and $2 million. About $500,000 for the coach itself and an additional $800,000 for the audio build-out. At its core sat an SSL Matrix console, a hybrid analog and digital board delivering 16 by 16 channels and super analog preamps, forming the central routing system for mixes crafted in motion. Main monitoring relied on custom Augsburger design speakers with dual woofers and horn tweeters worth around $20,000, specifically tailored for the bus environment. Supplementary monitoring included Genelec 7380A subwoofers at $2,000 apiece for extended low-end, and KRK VXD4 near-fields for quick checks. Timberland's signature microphone was a custom gold-plated Neumann U87, roughly $3,200 before plating, frequently used handheld in the passenger seat for mobile vocal takes. Processing was powered by 7 SSL X-Logic X-Rack modules valued at about $5,000 each, offering modular preamps, EQ, and compression. Editing ran through Avid Pro Tools HD. Beat creation featured a Korg Triton 61-key workstation, an OpenLabs Timberland MO custom controller worth $2,000 to $3,000 co-designed by Tim, and a Yamaha Motif ES7 for pad textures. The original bus was sold in 2021, with components like the SSL Matrix later resold for around $10,000.